It was a Tuesday morning, and it was in March, and I woke up that morning. I went into the bathroom, and as I was standing in the mirror, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the scripture came to me, Psalms 125 and verse 1 and 2, and it said, "Those that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, that cannot be moved, but abides forever. And as the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so is the Lord round about his people." I don't know how this happened, but I believe that they were talking about the coronavirus, but it wasn't widespread, okay? So they were talking about it maybe in February, maybe some heard it all the way back into January. I am a news addict, so I don't know how I missed that. And this was on a Tuesday morning. I came to the church, met with the staff, and I just randomly asked the question, and I went through every department, and I said, what would you do if we could only have church online?
Wow, everything revolves around the stream, the social, the tech piece. Do we have, everything in place to make that happen?
It was a crazy feeling. We technically operate hand in hand with production and social media, so not being in the building was going to cause a little bit of a problem.
Our staff began to scramble, trying to find ways to actually be prepared on Sunday to go online.
How are we going to reach the students? What are we going to do? And because of the urgency, I just had to get together with the team and create a plan and develop a plan and then just start to execute the plan.
I think for us, there was like a big sigh of relief when we went live that morning, and things kind of felt the same way, even though it was really odd to be streaming live, and we went live that morning from an empty sanctuary.
It really began to kick in. We are in the middle of a pandemic, and our nation is rocking.
With Pastor's leadership, we decided just to connect by phone call, by text, having virtual check-ins. It's just been tremendous to still be able to still see people's faces, still see them smile.
We wanted to immediately create an online presence. We wanted to go where the families were. We had to continue to maintain a relationally driven ministry, and we had to stay connected to our families.
And we wanted them to still be able to see some people, someone that was familiar.
Yes.
And so we did that through, creating videos.
I'm grateful for a team that was prepared. I am grateful for a God who, in his own way, just began to talk us through that very first week of the pandemic. We had no idea that all these weeks later, 47, 48 weeks later, we would still be online only, and we would still be fighting this pandemic.
Our mission never changed, but the heart behind how we did things became less about let's just do them because we've always done them, but being more intentional and thinking about every kid.
We decided to say, hey, we're gonna call at least 60 to 70 of our elderly just to check on them, to see if they need groceries, to see how they're feeling, because we know sometimes most of their children or their family members were in other states.
We came across VBS and we went wide with it. Our church, you guys, you sold, and you just really helped us go wide with this thing. We reached places that we never thought we would. Well, one day we ended up getting a response back from an email that came all the way from a family in California asking how they could be a part of small group because we mentioned it on one of the last days of VBS. It was in that moment when we knew that taking care of home was amazing, but that in this time and in this season, God had done something amazing. He had done something amazing in our church, in our community, in our world, and what we were trying to do just intentionally when He let us know that our reach had gone beyond what we could ever have done right here on site.
We were doing everything that we could think of doing to stay in contact with our audience, with our church. I just felt like, let me jump online, let me do an Instagram, let me do a Facebook Live, let me do something just so that I can be out there. They can see my face, and if they get in the comments, I can hear what they're saying. And so on this particular morning, I was scheduled to do a Facebook Live. There was breaking news that came on the television, and as I looked up, all I could hear and see was a man by the name of George Floyd, who was laying on the cement, laying on the concrete, laying on the street. And there was a police officer that had his knee in his neck. And it actually took the life of George Floyd. We had to say something. I couldn't sit there in my house and act like I didn't see that. I saw that. We had to make a stand. We would not allow this moment to just pass by and not open up our mouths and declare, hey, there's something wrong with what just happened to George Floyd. Our staff immediately jumped in with blogs, with videos, with podcasts, with books, with all kinds of original content to help us fight injustice. I mean, we had so many people that would go to the website and they would write us and they would say things like, this helped me so much. It opened up so many conversations, and people found out that that was going to be a safe place. We didn't just stop with a website. However, we began to show up and participate in prayer rallies with other local churches. We went to town hall meetings, and we became active in the process. Little did I know that while we were sowing into our community, meeting the needs of people, and please don't misunderstand me, these were not just our members, okay, that we were helping. We were just helping wherever the need was. But while we were helping other people, God turns around and starts approving things for us behind our back. One day I got a phone call, and when that phone call came, they said, we got it. I'm like, what did we get? We finally got the approval to start our parking lot.
It has been so fantastic to see our parking lot being built in the most unassuming time that we would ever imagine, the time that we would never think that this would happen. It's when God chose to say, all right, let's do it now.
We had been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for this parking lot and all of the approvals that we had to have for several years, 2 or 3 years here. Let me tell you something about God. When you least expect Him to do it, He will be God, and He'll blow your mind. And the thing that makes me smile the biggest about all of this is that the first time we were actually able to use and utilize our parking lot, we did a food giveaway around Thanksgiving for our community. Our staff was out here working, and that's what we used the parking lot for. It wasn't just so that we could park cars to have a service, but we were meeting the needs of our community from our parking lot.
I also think of just about our congregation, how much they have stuck with us during all of this. How many times they show up in the chat and someone says, I accepted Christ today, and our members flood that chat and congratulate them and welcome them to the family.
I mean, there's so many different stories of families that are sharing with me, you know, what this really means to them. And in a time like this, they look forward to coming and being a part of the Sunday online experiences, and to be able to see their friends that they're not seeing because they're not here physically.
Your kids pray.
Come on.
That aspect also
Yes.
evolved. How the children really leaned in to God, and we were able to walk with them along the way to show them and to
so
remind
great.
them how good and
Yeah.
faithful God is through the lessons and through connecting with them.
Yeah.
It blesses us every week, so we can't forget that.
We partnered with different organizations. We gave a car away on Mother's Day. We eliminated over $750,000 worth of medical debt. We weren't just sitting back watching the pandemic happen and watching people hurting, but the Potter's House of North Dallas stepped up to the plate and they said, Pastor, any way we can help, that's what we want to do.
One of the things that we've developed is our K's Way program. And K's Way, of course, is our grief and loss support program. And we have seen dozens of people go through that class completely online, sharing things that have hurt them, sharing things that have been devastating to them. And we have seen healing in the middle of a pandemic completely online, where people have found that their lives have been pulled back together, that they have gotten through their grief, that they have made it through tough times, through holidays, through anniversaries, through birthdays. We've had people from other states, other parts of the country, other than just locally here in Frisco, join K's Way and get that kind of healing. And I know that's a result of us leaning into how can we pivot in this pandemic.
I don't know what 2021 will hold. Here's what I do know. We'll never again take for granted seeing each other, worshiping with each other, singing together, rejoicing together, praying for, hugging, and comforting each other.
Church family is everything, especially one that has a genuine heart behind what they're doing. And I believe that we have a leadership that exudes the heart of God. And I believe that we have fellowship that exudes the heart of God. You are showing living faith. You're living out your faith by still being dedicated to this house. We love you and we appreciate you.
There's something about hard times that brings a family even closer. That's what we are. We're closer. We're stronger. You and I will never be the same. And that's okay.